It's afternoon.
It's afternoon.
Yes.
I love this.
What?
This one.
The fact that I'm married.
I love your ring.
Oh, you love my ring?
Yeah.
Do you have a ring yourself?
Yes, I have this.
Okay. And I'm glad that we are doing this together.
I'm happy to do this with you too.
Yes, and I would be so happy to help, especially families. We don't want people to die in marriage. We want people to enjoy marriage.
Yes.
It is not fair.
It's not fair.
And if it reaches there, see,
Just
I leave
live
you.
and let live.
Yes, I allow you to enjoy life with your people. You allow me to enjoy life with my people. I mean.
Honey, I will say this. Not only is it sin, but also unwarranted and selfish to commit suicide. Because when you're committing suicide, you're only thinking about yourself. Mental disorders does not mean you do wrong.
Hello, good people. Susie Ledadem, living positively regardless. Part 2 of what we were discussing about committing suicide and issues around suicide. So that's why we are here. Have you watched the video? If you haven't, please go and watch part 1 so that you're able to connect with what we are discussing today. So, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Welcome.
And guys, I'm here. And I'm here.
Welcome back. So, if you wish to share your story with us at this YouTube channel, you can reach me at Susie Diadem, YouTube, Facebook. You can also call us 0112-522-118. So you can reach us and we shall discuss more about that, what you want to air or to share with other people out there. Have you subscribed? Why not? Kindly do so. Help us to grow our channel by just hitting that subscribe button. Do you comment on our videos? Why not? Kindly help us to know how you feel about our content and what you'd want to hear from us more. Are you sharing our content? Why not? When you hear something and you think it's speaking to you, share it out with your contact. Maybe it will also help someone else. We discuss so many issues, so many aspects of life, and I believe there is what you can take, there is what someone else can take. So for today, I'll just go right into it because I can see already my penzi way.
I didn't know one thing I love. Is it the morning or afternoon?
It's afternoon.
It's afternoon.
Yes.
I love this.
What?
This one.
The fact that I'm married. You love the fact that I'm married and you love my ring.
I love your ring.
Oh, you love my ring?
Yeah.
Do you have a ring yourself?
Yes, I have this.
Okay.
And I remember on the 9th of December, 2023, I gave you this ring. Do you remember that day?
And I said, yes, I do. I'm
Yes.
still doing.
Yes.
I did.
Yes.
I'm doing. I will do.
And you are doing it very well. Back to our topic.
If you're doing this channel, this is my husband. He's Reverend. he's academic retired Muchiri Alexander.
Yes.
So don't worry him. Yes, and I love him. I love you so much.
Love you too.
And I'm glad that we're doing this together.
I'm happy to do this with you too.
Yes, and I would be so happy to help, especially families. We don't want people to die in marriage. We want people to enjoy marriage.
Yes.
You don't just someone to feel like the reason for me to commit suicide is my spouse.
No.
It is not fair.
It's not fair.
And if it reaches there, see,
Just
I leave
live
you.
and let live.
Yes, I allow you to enjoy life with your people. You allow me to enjoy life with my people. I mean, how do you think?
Yeah. You don't have what we are saying here, because the topic is suicide. You do not have to end your life for anybody or for anything. You don't have to do that because God has much more for you than what you can behold.
Yep.
God has much more for you than what you can behold. And even what you think you are losing, you just give yourself time. And have we not seen couples who are married and they get separated, and they are separated for many years, but they just give themselves time? They don't take their lives. After all those years, you find them reconciled.
Yeah, so I read a story of a lady who was saying they reconciled after 12 years,
12 years
of separation. You want to kill yourself, you have just separated. Even a week has not gone. Anyway, there are others like us who separate from good, life continues. Yeah, so we were discussing about suicide, and we have from the first video, you will be able to see that we were able to look at reasons why people commit suicide, how we are able to help them as a society, and even how you're able to help yourself, you the person who is feeling like committing suicide. I think we have discussed all that, so you can go and watch that. And maybe to start with, I'll put a myth. I'll put up across a statement of there's a myth that if someone mentions about taking their lives, committing suicide, people say you cannot help that person. They will still commit suicide. That even if you help them today, somehow they'll still commit suicide. It's not true. There are so many people who give testimonies. They were fighting suicidal thoughts sometime, but they are living today. They have the testimony. So it is possible to help someone who has decided to commit suicide. It's possible to help them, and finally that thought goes away, and God helps them that they will not kill themselves. So when we discussed on how to help these people, because I have had that a lot, and especially, okay, I've not lived in the city for long, so I can only talk about where I have lived. In the village, I have had people say, if you hear someone say they kill themselves, even if you try to help them, they'll still kill themselves.
It's not true.
It's not true.
It's not true.
Yes, you can help people, and they will change their mind for good, that they'll never do it. Now, I want to come to the side of the church.
Yes.
As we discussed from the first video about it, I heard you say that it is sinful to commit murder. It is sinful to commit suicide. And I have seen in many cases, not many, I've only observed like 2, where people committed suicide and the church went off, kept distanced themselves from this person, and they are even saying we are not going to bury them, and even if we did, not as a church but just as friends. So tell me about the sin in committing suicide.
Right. Honey, I will say this. Not only is it sin, but also unwarranted and selfish to commit suicide. Because when you're committing suicide, you're only thinking about yourself. You're not considering probably you have a wife or you have a husband. You're not considering that you have children who depend on you. You're not considering that you have parents who love you. You are not considering there is the society, and you are living it impacts in one or the other positively to the society. So when you commit suicide, I say it's a selfish thing to do. Look at the broader picture. You see a lot of sense and purpose for living. You have asked about the sin and the sinlessness in committing suicide. At the beginning, I talked of Judas having committed suicide. Viewers, there is a thin line between sinfulness and sinlessness in committing suicide. And just before I continue with this, I was at the beginning had given the story of Judas committing suicide. And I had said that, and in fact, that's what we read in Matthew 27. And this is how it goes. So Matthew 27 from verse 1, early in the morning, all the chief priests and the elders of the people made their plans how to have Jesus executed. So they bound him, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate the governor. The verse 3 says this: when Judas, who had betrayed him, saw that Jesus was condemned, he was seized with remorse. And I want to underline seized with remorse, and returned that pieces of silver to the chief priests and the elders. And this is what he said: I have sinned, he said, for I have betrayed innocent blood. What is that to us? They replied. That is your responsibility. So the priest replied. So Judas threw the money into the temple and left. Then he went away and hanged himself. Now, viewers, if Judas only did not commit suicide, and it ended with remorse, repenting, and returning the proceeds of sin, would he have been saved?
Yes, he would.
He would have been saved. So what we are saying is that it's good you give yourself an opportunity to live. In the previous interview, honey, I had given the example of a woman who went to church seeking for help, was prayed for, and was told, go away and God bless you, and ended in the bar, where the drunkard empathized with her, but not only empathized, they contributed for her well-being. And the question I want you viewers to ask ourselves: would this woman rather had committed suicide after losing help from the church, or it is better off, instead of choosing between committing suicide and looking for help elsewhere, what was the better good there? Committing suicide or going to seek help from the bar? Maybe that is something that viewers you can engage in a discussion. Now, but nevertheless, we are saying the place to seek for refuge is in the house of God. But what we are arguing, the church should go beyond praying to being a little bit practical, so that telling a person go and God bless you does not help very much. And so sometimes you find the world doing better than us. The world doing better than us. Now I'm going to the question you are asking. The sinfulness and sinlessness in committing suicide, and it may be how the church should respond to cases of suicide. You have mentioned situations where we verify victims of suicide as a church. To the extent you hear, we are saying we are not going to conduct burial services for those people who have committed suicide. Now, I would think before we judge whether a case of suicide is a sin or not a sin, we need to ask ourselves, was it a personal decision of the person wanting to commit suicide or not? We have people who are suffering psychiatric problems, So in themselves, they are mentally sick. So such that when they commit suicide, it's like they really don't know what they are doing. We cannot call it a personal choice because the person is an action of a person who is already mentally sick, driven by forces beyond his personal decision. But then, where a person decides to take his own life for whatever reason, then that is sin. That is wrong. But then, how, I don't know whether I am answering that question.
Yes.
So according to me, that is, I would think this person who has committed suicide as a psychiatric case, we cannot blame him or her on something that was not her personal decision. So I would rather, I feel, I don't know what viewers feel in such a case. We cannot judge that person as having committed a sin.
Okay.
But now this person, just because my girlfriend left me, my boyfriend left me, then I decide, I take a personal decision to take my life, then that is a sin.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So when we want to categorize, well, we are saying that committing a suicide is a sin. That's what we are saying. Yeah. I'm also putting myself into it. I'm feeling like I'm already converted in your preaching, in your sermon. So what you're saying is that committing a suicide is a sin, and I don't know whether you'll answer that or that's a topic of another day. That now when you die in sin, what happens? Whether there is an opportunity, another opportunity, because in the land of the living, we still have an opportunity to repent. So instead of dying and then we start bargaining whether you will have an opportunity or not, I'd rather please don't die. Don't commit suicide. So let us talk about how you can repent here and be forgiven here, because now this is another debate of whether after that you have a but now let's look at this person who has gone through, she has, maybe it's a psychiatric case where someone is mental. You're saying the church should embrace this person and look at him or her like someone who has died maybe from an accident, someone who has died from another illness.
Sickness, yes.
That's how you want it to.
I would look at it like that from where I sit, because this person is a psychiatric patient. He has done something, or she has done something. Without having premeditated that I want to take my life. It's something that you do unconsciously. It's a medical condition. I would think mental illness of this nature is a medical condition, just like malaria, pneumonia, and just like malaria can lead to death, or pneumonia can lead to death. Also, this such a mental case can lead to death, only that now this person has taken his or her life, but not consciously deciding to do it.
Wow. Now, when it comes to that level, how will we measure? Or let me just ask it directly. Are you able to tell us whether, like everybody else who commits suicide, are they really mentally okay? Because that is maybe the justification I would get, that for whatever reason, and maybe you talk of levels, that there is one who is more maddia than
the other.
Than the other. But don't you feel like everybody else who commits suicide, they have some disorders mentally, or
They have some disorders, mental disorders, but the mental disorders does not mean you do wrong. That's what I would think.
Okay.
Now, I remember in my active pastoral life, I handled some cases of people who have committed suicide. And when in some instances, not all of them, when I know a person has committed suicide, I would want to know from the family, what are the medical records of that person? And if I got a confirmation from the family and from the doctor that this was a psychiatry case, then I'll pastorally, I will handle him or her just like a person who died through other ailments. So so can you repeat the question again there?
Okay. Then because I was wondering if we are able to separate, I was feeling like everybody who reaches a point of taking their life, they are mentally disturbed, whatever the reason, whether it's a lover who has left them. Because I'm trying to check between the few percentage who commit suicide out of falling out of love, and the greatest percentage, because there are so many people out there who are left when they thought they are so loved, and they didn't commit suicide. So I was just feeling like they are also mentally, they're having some mental challenge with everybody else. So I'm wondering, the church wants to, because we have said it's a sin, and that's why at first they were separating themselves from it. But where now you say we want to see the hospital records, how do you now separate that this one
was mentally sick?
The other one, it's
deliberate.
It's deliberate.
Now, anybody who commits a sin would say it's out of a mental disorder. So if somebody will go and commit murder, and will say my mind was not straight. Somebody will go and steal and say
being a sinner is a mental
so committing suicide, committing murder, stealing, robbery, they are out of a mental condition. So mine, I'm trying to see a case where we can really rule out that this person was not caused by circumstances that really everybody encounters. Is a person who was sick mentally, and it can be proven. Me, I would think that person, even God will know this was not a deliberate action. But now that we have had an exchange with you, and you go and take some drugs and kill yourself, and then we start saying that was a mental case, you decided to do it. Because you had the option to allow yourself to live, and but you decided the way out of what you are in, just like somebody would think, to be out of poverty, I'm going to steal from the government. Now you have so many issues in your life, and you feel the way out of it is committing suicide. By doing that, like Judas, it is a sin.
Wow, I perfectly agree with you, because also in psychology we say science does not contradict religion, or religion does not contradict science. Because if the science explains to us how things are, like if you commit suicide, you are able to learn the patterns, you're able to know, to study that behavior that you did. But with the religion comes and tells us how things should be. So science tells us how it is as it is scientifically, then the religion comes and teaches us how it's supposed to be. So if you are thinking of stealing, that is your character, that is your nature, that is your personality. We agree that scientifically we are able to study that. But now the religion comes and we teach you that it is sinful to do what you are doing. So you should stop committing suicide and believe and trust in God that He's able to save you from whatever
predicament
you are in. So now we want to liberate people. Don't start saying that it's the mental disorder that is causing people to commit suicide. Take responsibility. You're telling us to take responsibility
of our lives,
and our actions, whatever action we take. Wow, beautiful. Do you have anything else you think you would have wanted to discuss about suicide?
Maybe how the church now handles the victims of suicide. Because as long as a person has committed suicide, you alluded to it, whether there is a chance after death of repenting. And this reminds me of a book by a pastor called Pastoral. He wrote a book, I Married You. I saw it a long time. I had a copy of it, but I think I gave it to somebody who never returned it to me.
Kindly, Muchiri wants the book. And I hope it's not Isaac.
Who got it? And it gave a story of a lady who reached a point of committing suicide around to throw herself in the river just because the boyfriend and they had left her. And that night, she was going to commit suicide. Pastor Trobis and his wife were traveling, driving along where they were going, and found her on the river and beside the river, wanting to throw herself into the river. And that, I think it was called Margaret, if I can remember the name. And asked Margaret, what are you doing? And Margaret said, I want to
commit suicide.
I want to take my life. I want to commit suicide. And the why, and asked, why do you want to commit suicide? Because he said, I think the life in this world is too bad because so and so has left me. And then told and then a pastor told him, have you ever been to heaven? To know that place is better than the world we are in. And
that there are no lovers who leave people.
all of who leave people. And she says no. And Pastor Trobis told that lady, you know what you are doing? You want to throw yourself from the frying pan into the charcoal. So viewers, when you are contemplating committing suicide because of the difficulties you are going through, I want you to take these ones from this Pastor Trobis, and he's now late, and may so rest in peace. He told that lady, you are throwing yourself from the frying pan to the
fire,
to the charcoal. So which one is better, in the pan frying or in the charcoal? Because suicide is sin. If you commit suicide, you actually surrendering yourself to hell. But then when it comes to the church now handling victims of suicide, and I'm saying this as a young pastor, I made these mistakes. Many times, I'm sure I did not handle these cases very well. Because when a person is dead, it's dead.
Yeah.
And sometimes as churches, we behave like we are punishing the person who is in the coffin.
We will not bury you. You committed the sin.
Yeah. And you have to know, when a person has died, the pair of shoe that person is wearing has greater worth than the dead body. So when you are trying to discipline the person who has already died, what are you doing? What are we doing? And not realizing that the person we are hurting is the bereaved family. So our concentration should not be on the person who committed suicide.
Okay.
It should be, maybe this person left a widow, the children, the parents. These are the people, the motivation of the service we offer should be to give and offer pastoral, psychological counseling services to the bereaved. Give them hope. Otherwise, there is a way you can handle it. To the extent the wife or the husband who is left also goes and commits suicide. Because a person would say, my spouse left me, then the church has neglected me, the society has neglected me, then we'll have no purpose for living, but also commit suicide. Find a progression, escalation. So we do not discipline cases of suicide by disciplining the dead.
The dead. Wow.
Instead, is by loving and offering pastoral service, psychological counseling, psychosocial support to the living, because those who have died have died.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. Yeah, that's deep, because I believe and I see it's true. There's so much that is put into this. Even what you were explaining, we forgive you, Pastor. You said you did those mistakes. We forgive you. Guys, have you forgiven him? Good people, forgive him for my sake. He did the mistake. and even now we are forgiving you in advance before you commit this mistake, because you are about to commit it. Right? Here now, when we are having a long case, asking ourselves, is it psychiatric case or is it from a personal decision? Why are we putting so much effort to what has caused this? The thing is, and I agree with you, the pain of being bereaved, doesn't matter what killed this person. Whether they were hit by a car on the road, whether they took life by themselves, whether they have been in hospital for a whole year, the fact is, a friend or a person in the family have left. So the pain is the same for everybody else. So when we put the burden into this family, we didn't want to know whether psychiatric, whether what. If someone died in the hospital, do we go to details? You want to know, by the way, was he being treated for malaria, for typhoid, or for what? I agree, and I feel it's something that really need to be corrected. We don't put so much effort as to why he did this, whether he was mentally challenged or not. The idea is, we are now with the people who have been left here. They may not commit suicide physically, but we can leave dead people in that home. When we have mishandled, maybe let's say it's a daughter, maybe let's say it's a son, let's say it's a mother, they have died, and now we have concentrated so much on what happened, we left these souls out. We didn't have enough time to console with them. So we leave them more wounded, we leave people who have died inside of them, instead of what we could have done to help them, right?
I can't agree with you more, because you are right. I think as a church, we have to evaluate on how we deal with the cases of suicide pastorally. I know, and when I realized this mistake, because those are mistakes when young charismatic pastor, and where you have an attitude, what you call holier than thou. But as as I graduated in my life of the ministry, I remember a case where a church refused to conduct the funeral of a person who had committed suicide. And I went and did it. Do you know the family members of that person, all of them came to Anglican church because they felt, and you know, the viewers, there are several areas, sensitive areas that you cannot just mess around in a person's life. When a person is born, during the wedding, and the death, those are very sensitive key areas. You have to be very careful. And I wish, as an elderly pastor, I wish the young pastors can learn this from me. These areas are very sensitive. You can, as a pastor, you can cause a lot of enmity with the people if you mishandle these three. And so you can see here, the whole family comes to my church just because they feel, imagine my church did not start with me at the most painful point of my life. And the pain is not felt by the person who committed suicide.
That's true.
The one this one is finished. The pain is felt by the bereaved. So I agree with you. The church will need to evaluate how we respond and deal with the cases of suicide pastorally much better than we are doing it. Otherwise, we might find ourselves increasing the already escalating vice by thinking we are helping.
Wow, thank you so much. Guys, I think we have explored on this area as much as we could have. Are you there and you have a question that you want to ask us about suicide and all of that what Pastor has discussed? I hope you'll not receive some stones for saying that those who have committed suicide have died in sin, so they are sinners in death, and they don't know now after death. After death is no opportunity to repent.
There's no opportunity.
Unless
there's no appeal in heaven. You work on your relationship with Jesus when you are alive here. When you are past this world, you wait for judgment. And we need to say that life is sacred. It's only God we're supposed to take life. So don't take your life. Don't take another person's life. If you commit suicide, you decide because of the predicaments, and I'm not belittling them, they are heavy, but you have to choose to do right. And the right thing is not committing suicide like Judas. What you do is do what I wish Judas did. Get remorse, repent, return the proceedings of theft, and allow himself to live. Live and let live.
Have you subscribed to our channel? If you have not yet, please do. Please share this video, let us many learn from it. And we wish you a very healthy kind of life that will not cause you or push you towards feeling like committing suicide. And when you reach at that point, kindly talk to people. We would be glad to help you not to commit suicide. I know there are churches who are would be glad to help you. So if you feel like life is pushing you towards a decision, kindly don't take it. And then we start debating whether after death you will have an opportunity to repent. Let's utilize what we have today. For now, bye. We love you.
Bye. Bye.